Hello everyone, a very good evening to all of you. Welcome to the Officer Adda 24/7, the special session of English medium BRBL subject in which we are doing the case studies question and the others question. So as we know that we are doing the paragraph based question also. So today also we will solve the paragraph based question. Let's start the session. Okay, C class. Section 126 of the Indian Contract Act. First of all, if I just say you the important sections of Indian Contract Act. So you have to learn section 10, that is essential point of valid contract. Okay. Then we have a section 124 contract of indemnity. Section 126 contract of guarantee. Section 148 contract of bailment, section 172 contract of pledge, and section 182 that is contract of agency. And the other important section is section 125 talk about the rights of indemnity holder. Section 129 talk about the continuing guarantee. So these are the important section from the Indian Contract Act that you have to learn. Okay, because always at least 2 to 3 questions come from the section base, and that is a direct question. Okay, that is the direct question that always come. So section 126 of Indian contract, which deal with the contract of guarantee, has defined if a contract to perform the promise or discharge the liability of a third person in the case of his default. Is that okay? Contract of guarantee is classified basically into specific guarantee and continuing guarantee. So two types of guarantee, specific and continuing. Is that okay? So when a guarantee is given in respect of a single debt or specific transaction, when a guarantee is given in respect of a single debt or specific transaction and come to end when the guaranteed debt is paid and the promise is duly performed, that is called specific or simple guarantee. So guys, you have to understand this definition, that is what is specific and simple guarantee. Okay, so when guarantee is given in respect of a single debt and specific transaction and come to the end when guaranteed debt is paid and the promise is duly performed, that is called specific or simple guarantee. But the next definition is your continuing guarantee. Okay, so continuing guarantee is basically a guarantee which extends to the series of transaction, that is called continuing guarantee. If I just give you the one example, if I give you the one example of specific and the single transaction, okay, see, this is contract of guarantee, principal, debtor, creditor and surety. Husband is saying to the shopkeeper that allow my wife every month that she can do shopping up to 20,000 rupees and I will give you that 20,000 rupees. So husband is allowing the shopkeeper. This is called continuing guarantee. What is this? This is called continuing guarantee because husband is saying the shopkeeper that in every month up to 20,000 you can allow my wife and I will give you the guarantee that I will pay you. This is called continuing guarantee. And specific and simple, only one transaction because that is given here. Specific transaction and a single debt. Is that okay? Then the surety liability in the case would continue till all the transactions are completed and till the guarantor revokes the guarantee as to the future transaction. Exactly. The continuing guarantee, first of all, this word and this section is also much important. Section 129 talks about the continuing guarantee. Okay, so continuing guarantee is a type of guarantee which applies to the series of transaction. It applies to all the transaction entered by the principal debtor until it is revoked by the surety. Okay, it's applied to the all the transaction entered into by principal debtor until it is revoked by the surety. Therefore, banker always prefer to have continuing guarantee so that guarantor's liability is not limited to the original advance and would not extend to all the subsequent debt. C class. So this is the definition of continuing guarantee. Is that okay? Now, the most important feature of continuing guarantee is that it's applied to the series of separable and the distinct transaction. It applies to this one. Therefore, when a guarantee is given for entire consideration, when guarantee is given for entire consideration, it cannot be termed as a continuing guarantee. Okay, this is very much important. It's applied to a series of separable and distinct transaction. Therefore, when guarantee is given for entire consideration, it cannot be termed as a continuing so far as guarantee is given for the existing debt is concerned. It cannot be revoked as once the offer is accepted, it becomes final. But however, a continuing guarantee can be revoked for the future transaction, that is but obvious. In case the surety shall be liable for those transactions which is already taken place. After making a payment and discharging the liability of principal debtor, the surety gets the various rights. Okay, now the rights of surety, the first one is right against the principal debtor. Okay, this is principal debtor, creditor, surety. So right against the principal debtor, in every contract of guarantee, there is a implied promise by principal debtor to indemnify the surety, because we know that the surety will not work in a free of cost. So that's why it is an implied promise by principal debtor to indemnify the surety, and the surety is entitled to recover from the principal debtor whatever sum he has rightfully paid under the guarantee. That is important. Okay, class, any doubt? Okay, so I think that is clear to all of you. Now the next one is, this is because the surety has suffered a loss due to the non-fulfillment of promise by principal debtor. Therefore, surety has a right to be compensated by the debtor. Okay, and on the default of payment by principal debtor, when the surety pay off the debt of principal debtor, he becomes entitled to claim all the security. Exactly. Suppose the principal debtor have given the security to the creditor. So if principal debtor is not able to pay the money, the surety will but obvious claim the security which were given by the principal debtor to the creditor. Okay. Principal debtor, creditor, surety. Suppose if the creditor have given the particular thing to the principal debtor, in that case, if the principal debtor have given the security, the surety can but obvious they can demand. The surety has right to all the security whether received before and after the creation of guarantee, and it is also immaterial whether the surety has a knowledge of those security or not. Okay, so this is the right of surety against the principal debtor. That is important. Okay, now guys, let's start the question and answer. Okay, see, Ashna. Ashna is a bookseller who supply a set of books to Parag under the contract that if Parag does not pay for the books, his friend Ria would make the payment. This is containing guarantee, this is specific guarantee. This case is not a case of guarantee as no consideration is involved, and this is the case of indemnity. Tell me class. Ashna is a bookseller who supply a set of books to Parag under the contract that if Parag does not pay for the book, his friend Ria. So if we see here, Yes, class, for this one, the right answer is this is containing specific. This is a specific guarantee. Why? Because if a Parag does not, his friend Ria would make the payment. That is a set of books, a one complete, a one specific one. So that's why B is the right answer. Okay, next. Lal, what? Lal gave his house to Tanu. Lal gave his house to Tanu on a lease for 10 year on a specified lease rent. So Lal gave his house to Tanu on a lease for 10 years on a specified lease rent. Qazi guaranteed that Tanu would fulfill his obligation. Okay, Tanu would fulfill his obligation. Okay, so Qazi is basically a guarantor. After 7 years, Tanu stopped paying the lease rent. Lal sued for payment of rent. Qazi then gave a notice revoking his guarantee for remaining 3 years. So decide what is this. This is a very good question. This is very good question, class. Tell me the right answer. So here, class, in this case, as we can see that gave his house to Tanu on the lease for 10 year on a specified lease rent. That is a specified, specific. So that's why this is a specific guarantee. Okay, next. It's a Zawi in consideration that UV will employ XYA in collecting the rent of UV's Jamidari, promises UV to be responsible for amount of 50,000 for due collection and payment by XY of those rent. Decide. This is containing specific or case of indemnity, none of the above. Zawi, in consideration that UV will employ XYZ in collecting rents of UV's Zimmedari, promises UV to be responsible for the amount of 50,000 for the due collection and the payment by XYZ. What is this? So UV in consideration that Zavi in consideration that UV will employ XY in a collecting rent of Zuvi Zimmedari, promises to be this. So this is the what? This is called a containing guarantee. Okay, this is called the containing guarantee. Okay, now Chirag guarantees to Dia to the extent of rupees 10,000 in August that Ali shall pay for all the goods brought him during the next 3 months. Chirag gave notice of revocation. Dia sell goods worth rupees 6,000 to Ali in January. Decide. Chirag is liable for 6,000. Ali is liable for 6,000. Both A and B and none of the above. Chirag guarantees to Dia to the extent of rupees 10,000 in August that Ali shall pay for all the goods brought by him during the next 3 months. So here, class, guarantees. Chirag is a guarantor. Okay, Chirag is a guarantor. to Dia to the extent of rupees 10,000 in August that Ali shall pay for all the goods brought by him during the next 3 months. So class, none of the above, because that the fact is not clear. Okay guys, the fact is not clear in this case. Now, Ajay and company have taken a loan from Bharat and company. Okay, that is a principal debtor, creditor, where Samar act as a surety on the behalf of Ajay and company. Bharat demand payment from Samar and on his refusal sue him for the amount. Samar defend the suit having reasonable ground for doing so, but he is compelled to pay the amount of debt with the cost decide. Samar can recover from Ajay the amount paid by him for the cost as well as the principal debt. Samar can recover from Ajay the amount paid by him for the cost only. Samar cannot recover from Ajay the amount paid by him as he is a surety or none of the above. So this is the right answer. Okay. On guarantees of Ashi, Jia lent 50,000 to Sita. Jia is a creditor, Sita is principal debtor, and that is guarantor. This debt is secured by security for debt which is leased to Sita's house. Sita default in paying the debt. Ashi has to pay the debt. Is Ashi entitled to receive anything? So this is the right answer. Okay. So guys, that's all for today. So I hope so this is clear to all of you. So this is our crash course, 21st of April. That is already started. In this crash course, we have a online live classes, free PDF, recorded session, 127 mock paper, 151 ebooks, and the doubt session. So do not forget to enroll in this session.